always took advice shows too seriously. The Ned's declassified to girl code / guy code pipeline is real. Like, damn, I just survived middle school, and now I find out there's a right and wrong way to be a girl? Dude, I haven't been putting any thought into that. Let me take some notes.
A crush is when you can't stop thinking about somebody.
Did I have a crush on SpongeBob, or is that definition too vague? Or both?
Should you just tell him? I say, if you just want to hook up, yes. But if you're like, I have a crush on you and I love you and I want to be with you forever, don't do that.
Don't let anyone know how you actually feel unless you just want to suck face. Wait a minute, is this advice even good?
Your video to the show. I do.
Butt lovers, welcome back to Camp or Cringe, Lore's edgier cousin, where we take a look at what I watched as a confused teenager and decide whether it's camp or cringe, or both, or neither. Before we begin, I have to flex on you that I've been to every single Great Wolf Lodge, and yes, that is actually really impressive. I'm actually so brave. I went to the 23 Great Wolf Lodge locations as well as the last standalone Magic Quest to become a level 1000 wizard. It was seriously such a passion project of mine, one I will never stop talking about. If you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend. But back to the topic at hand. Guy Code was released in 2011 on MTV 2, followed shortly after by Girl Code, which aired from 2013 to 2015. This was a time when millennial humor was peak. And with that came a lot of outdated shit to the point where this feels like it aired 50 years ago, as opposed to just 10. But a lot can change in a decade, as you will soon see. The one cool thing about Girl Code is that it was probably my first exposure to women talking about their pleasure loudly and proudly. Girl Code Episode 1's description reads, crushes, boobs, roommates drinking. Jillian Rose Reed from Awkward shares her long story short. First of all, Long Story Short is a great show. You should definitely watch it. Here in Girl Code, Long Story Short is a segment that's basically just a story time. Second of all, I think this is how I got into Girl Code, because as you all know, back in the day when I was watching Awkward, I had a huge closeted crush on this actor. Not so much now, because Jillian Rose Reed voiced Naomi in Elena of Avalor, and she acts so fucking nonchalant about it. Like, oh my god, girl, how do you not see how cool that is? But yeah, right off the bat, it's 2013. It was kinda progressive with how open these ladies were about their wants and desires, but the whole series also started with boobs. That's what we have to address first. Address? More like undress. We will actually be hearing a lot of insight like that from guys on this supposedly girl-centered show. Just you wait. Every episode starts not with a theme song, but with a monologue, with scenes acted out, and it is a lot. No, not Stephanie Shu from Everything Everywhere All at Once. You don't deserve to be tied to this lazy fat joke on MTV. What are you doing here?
Sure, guys have their code, but it's nothing like ours.
Girls and guys. They're different as can be. We're basically like a different species. Yeah, totally. I'm sure this ideology is totally innocent and not at all associated to staunch conservative values about strict gender roles or anything like that. This is great. This is good stuff. This is really good stuff. Within the first 2 minutes of the very first episode, we have a guy. Because we really need a guy's opinion on boobs, or else we'll die. One boob, two boob, right boob, blue boob. A boob by any other boobs, just as boob. Chris DiStefano talks about the fact that he involuntarily motorboats every time he even thinks about a boob. You might want to see a doctor, buddy. Also, where do I know you from? This face is fresh in my brain for some reason. Oh wait, you're the Tupperware guy. You have a podcast with Sal from Impractical Jokers.
What are you saying? Say it again.
Tupperware?
I thought I caught that. You're throwing
Tupperware.
You're throwing bees at me.
What are you talking about?
Tupperware. Tupper.
It's Tupper?
Big fan of you mispronouncing kitchenware. I'm sorry to hear about your motorboating condition. That seems really tough to live with. I don't want to seem like a woke asshole, but women have it hard. The first lesson right off the bat, before we even get the chance to breathe, it's so dehumanizing. They straight up say, oh, there are perks to being flat-chested and big-chested. If you have small boobs, you can never be sexy, even if you try. And if you have big boobs, you can only be sexy to the point where no one respects you. Also, here are all the ways you could stuff your bra to make it look like you have cleavage. What? MTV stands for My Tits Are Fine. I love the Pegasus in the back telling them all to shut up when they're being jealous of each other. She's so real for that. Seeing Nicole Byer be self-deprecating is so devastating to see. I love her work. Don't let them make you think you have to insult your body to be relatable. But then they talk about confidence as if they weren't just shitting all over themselves about a second ago. Gee, what's next? Oh, okay. Casual transphobia. No! Proceed with caution. Timestamp on screen if you want to skip this entirely, which I wouldn't blame you. But in the crushes section, they compare a guy having a vagina to a guy having terrible breath, which aside from not making any sense, just also screams self-hatred. Because sure, you can have a preference for certain genitals, I guess. I wouldn't know anything about that, I'm bi. But why are you comparing what you have in your pants to a rancid smell? Sounds like a skill issue, wipe front to back. Also, the visual of this man changes to him wearing high heels and a skirt. Ridiculous. Sad. But also, if a trans king wants to dress more femme, I support him. We call that in the industry my type. Girl code? Leave him the fuck alone. Okay?
Finally. Bread. Take a piece. Ugh, who am I kidding? I can't be the first one, not with these skinks.
I can't imagine hating your friends as much as this show says you should. For context, what I censored is an eating disorder. Yup, this totally normal-looking girl hates her body, and because she's jealous of her friend, she implies they don't eat. As if that's something cool and trendy, and not a serious medical condition. It reminds me of that one Shake It Up episode. 2011 was wild. This is all the first episode. Does the advice get any better throughout this series? Still the first episode, now we're talking about getting drunk. This should be a source of camaraderie. Think of all the jokes we make nowadays about meeting new friends in the bar bathroom and drunkenly complimenting strangers telling them how pretty they look. I wonder what girl code will say.
If I hear a sex in the beach, if your drink has some ridiculous name, I'm going to the other end of the bar and I'm drinking with the guy who's bald and gray hair on the sides. I'm gonna go hang out with him.
Bro, we can't even say the names of drinks anymore. Bartender, can I have this one? Oh, the party rockin' cowgirl? Wow. You're a child. An unfunny joke, okay? I can't believe you embarrassed me like this again. Consider this friendship over, and also I'm gonna stab you. We finally get Jillian Rose Reed's story, and it's such a nothing burger. She had a bad date with a guy. He wasn't aware of his volume in a movie theater, which is the real red flag. But then she goes on and on about how his hobby is wearing a Viking helmet and singing opera, which is when she ditched him in the middle of the date. Is this why she never talks about her character she played in Elena of Avalor? Naomi comes from seafaring people, and I guess Jillian really doesn't fuck with that. Anyway, the next section of this first episode, yes, we're still on the first episode, is all about roommates.
And they were roommates.
Oh my god, they were roommates.
And we once again have to hammer the point home that girls and guys, well, they're different.
She basically interviews the girl. They go to coffee and she interviews him. When a guy needs a roommate, he's just like, you've got $400, right? You can pay this? All right, you're in.
Girls are so picky, it's not that deep. It's just who you're cohabitating with, who has access to your food, furniture, and sleeping body. So dramatic. So if you couldn't already tell, this show's priorities are out of whack.
Someone who won't your boyfriend when you run out for milk? That's a good roommate.
This is like if the movie Mean Girls was everyone's reality all the time, beyond just high school. Because even though our cast of advice-giving ladies will talk about things like cleanliness, that isn't juicy enough, so we have to 180. Back to slut-shaming we go. What if she steals my boyfriend? Girl, no one wants your boyfriend. Wow, it really seems like we'd get along. Contributing to chores equally, communicating well. Okay, final question. Don't steal my boyfriend. That's not a question. Also, don't worry, I would never do that. I'd let you steal me. Look what you did! Get out! I do love when the advice contradicts.
I'll just put post-its all over the house where areas I have issues with. Take care of the toilet. Restock the shampoo, bitch. If your roommate leaves notes everywhere, you start leaving her notes about her notes. Because she's being stupid.
Things like this force you to not just accept the advice you're given. Which side are you on? Petty and aggressive on the offense? Or just matching the energy you're given? You already know I'm with Nicole Byer on this. It's nice to hear opposing beliefs, except from this guy.
If I come home with a lady and I see a chore chart, I immediately just think, what am I having sex with an 8-year-old? I am out of here.
Keeping your place clean and reminding yourself of what chores need to be done in a way that literally hurts no one. Or having sex with this winner. Give me a break. Also, that never happened. You never stopped a hookup because of a chore chart. And if you did, you're the one that'll be laughed at because that's really bizarre. If this was an Am I the Asshole post, people would say no one's the asshole because you can change your mind about hooking up over anything. But over this, you're strange and silly for sure. And that's coming from me of all people. The first season of Guy Code was so difficult to find. It's available on no streaming service. For that reason alone, I thought it was going to blow the first episode of Girl Code out of the water with how poorly it aged. Turns out, not really, just more of the same. We have manscaping, sexting, bottle service, and camping. The most random assortment of words just smushed together. To this show's credit, we also hear from a girl within the first 2 minutes, just like Girl Code did with that guy, so... equality? We have achieved equality? We did it? They introduced her as the Maxim hometown hottie. So I'm glad her qualifications are take her seriously because awooga hamna 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 hamna.
See more of her fine ass.
It's clear they want to hear our insight as women because they respect us. Anyway, the topic of manscaping fascinated me because I did not think guys gave a shit about that at all. Maybe it's because this was the age of the metrosexual, as they called it, popularized in part by Jersey Shore's gym tan laundry. They tried to make it cool for guys to put in a little effort as long as you don't overdo it. As long as you don't overdo it. I hate to admit it, but this part made me laugh.
Shorter the grass, the taller the tree, you know, because you want to make sure you protect that wood. Get it?
I never thought about an optical illusion via pubes, but now I'll never forget it. Now we get back to the weird gendered stereotypes, because too clean-shaven is girly. And women don't want to get with other women. Who told you that? For the next topic of sexting, they bring in the authors of the book Flirtexting. If the name alone doesn't tell you enough about the content, here is a single page from the very real book, Flirtexting. Listen up. The overuse of abbreviations, acronyms, and smileys in your flirt texts will put you on the next bus back to Singletown. If you want to avoid this, be weary of how you write out your words and avoid sounding like you just stepped off the set of Clueless. Topical reference for the time, I suppose. While shortening words and letters is cute and funny when exchanged among your girlfriends, please don't use brill and perf in your flirt texts. They make you sound flighty. Constant abbreviations are totally girly and will make any guy roll his eyes, not laugh. The same goes for overuse of your symbols. Because we can't always tell tone over texts, symbols can create emphasis by letting the other person know we were only kidding. However, overuse of these make you seem like an overzealous and hyper preteen girl on her way to a Justin Bieber concert. Let's reflect on these for a moment. What's wild is on the next page they say LOL is totally acceptable, but here on Guy Code they say don't use LOL as a guy ever.
I think when guys use LOL, you're lame. So if you
My
use it
boyfriend uses LOL.
Not only do they disagree, but we never hear why she hates guys using LOL in texts. They never elaborated. So remember when I said we achieved equality?
Women have infiltrated everything. Girls can vote.
Why did he sound so disappointed that we can vote?
Camping is still ours.
Whoa! First of all, and I'm sure you already know this, but there are women who enjoy camping, whether he likes it or not. And honestly, I understand the need for a getaway away from everyone, but the buildup of that was truly gnarly. He doesn't want us to vote. And he chose the bear. Not for safety reasons, he just doesn't like us. Are women mad about this? Are we up in arms that he chose the bear? No, we don't like him either, but still. This entire episode was all about impressing women to have sex with them, but having an actual heart-to-heart, bonding around a fire, staring up at the stars and questioning why we're here and what the meaning of life truly is. Now that's just for the boys. Even things that sound so wholesome only leads to a moment that is wholesome.
And like literally build a fort in the living room. I'm a grown man building forts. And it's like, hey, let's make s'mores. And you know, next thing you know, she's getting tapped in for.
Making pillow forts and s'mores? How cute! Ah, well, joke's on you. It's all a ruse. It's just a one-way ticket to s'more sex. Ha ha ha! Naturally, next I watched the Girl Code Season 1 episode, Makeup Being Gassy, Driving, and Being Slutty, since I do all of these things. The fart section was really endearing because it seemed like everyone was really excited to talk about ass gas. They're talking about owning it, crop dusting in the club. I was pretty tickled. But then this one girl had to be fat phobic.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
It feels like the really mean nature of this show rears its ugly head every time I let my guard down. Because it'll just feel like harmless millennial humor. But then they remember, we gotta say something really mean every 20 seconds or we'll fucking explode. The makeup section, of course, didn't take any self-expression or fun into account. It was all the ladies airing out every flaw they have, while the guys pop in to be super smug about it. One of the guys even said, "We'll find out how you look without it eventually, so stop hiding." That's so scary, not reassuring at all. And if you want to rock a natural look, instead of encouraging you, this one girl says, word for word, "If you don't think you need it, you do. Just don't look like a cake face." This show is the definition of keep your enemies closer, because why the fuck was I being bullied in school only to come home and be bullied by the TV? As a teen, I internalized a lot of this shit, but it externalized in the exact opposite way, where I wanted to be not like other girls. And the pendulum swung right back in my makeupless face, because in my attempt to not be surface level, I still made assumptions like them. I was still mean like them. And I didn't experiment with my clown face paint until I was in a college theater class. And I love doing fun face paint. It makes me sad I didn't do it sooner out of fear of judgment. I talk about this a lot during my Faking It Camper Cringe, but I didn't realize until I started this series that MTV really fucked me up. The slutty section is surprisingly the most uplifting. The guys were calling out their own hypocrisy, with Mr. Tupperware being surprisingly astute, calling out other men's BS.
He'll want his girlfriend to just do the nastiest things in bed. But then once she does those things, he's like, "The f*** did she learn that? What a slut." And then get mad at her.
Speak on it, King. Some men aren't secure enough to handle a confident, experienced woman. I love this face he makes with his hands crossed. He is roasting these fools. The very end of the slut section is where it gets back to the usual bitterness we expect from the show. Because throughout this segment, they're saying, "Yes, own it, girl. No one can tear you down," before then switching it up and saying, "Okay, but don't talk about it though. Keep it to yourself." And I had to rage quit the driving section pretty early on, because this dork said women are bad drivers, and this one girl's like, "Nuh-uh, we can text and drive." Bestie, /J or /G. MTV gets some tone indicators up in this bitch. I know they make jokes, but this is an advice show that just endorsed very distracted driving. Check it out, MTV. I'm a man and I can text and drive too, okay? Oh, shit! Moving on to the Guy Code episode from season 1, where they talk about crying and drinking like a man. So really quickly, let's make some predictions. Do you think they'll encourage men to show their emotions? Of course not. Of course not. They say it's cringe and to only cry when close relatives die. Toxic masculinity is exhausting. I feel bad for the guys out there that embody this. I know once you make it other people's problem that you're pent up, it gets harder to empathize with, but hearing all the guys' strategies for how they hold back tears, it's really blatant what a fucked up clown circus we're living in. Some of them are physically running away so no one sees them cry.
Find a reason to leave the room.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
This guy is hitting the scream face, terrifying, so much more concerning than just letting the tears flow. And this one guy encourages a speed run cry, which I didn't know was an option.
And just let it go.
Vulnerability, especially around the ones you love, is not a sign of weakness. It's only cringe to deny yourself of the feelings that make you human, out of fear that someone out there will judge you. Someone's judging you regardless, just live your life. When people judge me for harmless shit, I think, damn, that's on them. I'm not looking for every possible way to fit into the mold of who other people want me to be. Sorry to get serious, I just knew these men talking about not crying would make me want to cry. And then I'd have to immediately stop crying for them.
Get back in there, Tia.
Because the infantilization of women in this section is wild. They're like, yeah, if a man's crying, you know he has good reason to. And then, all of a sudden, the topic changes to women crying, and this violin music appears out of nowhere. And they talk about how to pretend to care about what the woman is crying about while watching TV over their shoulders.
I need to buy a gun.
I wonder why some men are lonely. I wonder. Reminder that no one is holding you at gunpoint, forcing you into a relationship, and that it's not a crime to actually love your partner. I genuinely didn't remember this level of I hate my wife jokes. We also have really creepy daddy issues slipped in there.
They want you to be like their dad.
Like their dad.
No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. I'd rather jump off the nearest fucking cliff. Don't get me started. Drinking like a guy is just another section that emphasizes that being girly is one of the worst things you could be. And the woman that they're trying to get with are supposed to hear this and not be insulted. These guys are talking about getting ready to be in a bar fight. Fighting the bartender over a girly cherry. All things that make us feel very safe, I'm sure. Show of hands, would you trust any of these men with your drink? Let me see. 3, 4. No hands are raised. We gotta see if the later seasons get better. Holy hell. Season 3 of Girl Code takes a very clear shift. We no longer get a list of topics, we just get one. And glancing really quickly at these episodes, I see your sexuality, divorce, race. Oh, hello, Aquafina. I am not surprised to see you here at all.
Asian people will be the first ones to go up to like black people and like touch their hair, and then the black person just kind of like is like, oh hell no.
Yup. Oh god. Before we continue to feel that level of pain, I don't know how much of this story I could show without getting copyright struck in, but listen to how Nicole Byer thought babies were made.
I thought babies were pre-made in heaven. When the mom was ready to have a baby, God would push one of the babies out, but on its way it would become a hamburger seed. And it would land on a hamburger bun, and the mother would eat it, and then the seed would grow. And I remember telling my mom that, and she was like, how? How did you come to that conclusion?
Thank you for making me laugh for the first and only time while watching this. I absolutely loved your work in Vivo. If you didn't know, Nicole played Valentina. She's wonderful. To be fair, not everything she's said has aged the best either, but she has the best moments throughout, I'd say. Yeah, so the Your Sexuality episode was more of the same, telling us to be confident while they themselves are making the most uncomfortably self-deprecating jokes.
I don't feel sexy ever. Like, if a guy was ever like, hey, sexy, I'd be like, where?
It's uncomfortable to watch. On the bright side, gay people finally exist in 2014. A lady via Twitter asks them about And 2 out of 3 of these women did not know what they were talking about. In the divorce episode, they're talking specifically about parents getting divorced, which of course adults can deal with, but they're very self-aware of their own demographic versus who they're giving advice to, and the difference in life experience. They ask this one lady if her parents are divorced, to which she says, "Yeah, I'm divorced." Some of them are so far removed from caring about what their parents are doing, and as usual, we are hit over the head with an off-putting, thick level of snark. Carly's parents are not divorced. They've been together 20 years. Aww. So of course they hate each other. Haha, life fucking sucks. No, but honestly, this episode was pretty real in a good way as well.
A lot of parents stay together for the kids, break up for the kids.
Thank you, yes. They also talk about leveraging your parents' guilt to negotiate more Christmas gifts. This feels like an actual appropriate time to be silly. I don't know, it was kind of sweet. I wish I was still watching the show at this point because this would have made me feel a little bit better. Just kidding. Spoke too soon yet again because radio personality and alleged Charlemagne says girls need father figures to tell them to direct, quote, keep their damn legs closed. And he follows this up with, yeah, guys are okay without father figures. MTV, from the bottom of my heart, fuck you for platforming this. If I rage quit the divorce episode, I'm sure they'll handle race with a lot more sensitivity. Okay, so this is how they open that episode. My stomach was in knots the moment this white lady appeared on screen. Oh, she's putting on a Valley Girl accent. She's doing a bit. I sure hope she doesn't.
I don't think about rice or see rice. Oh my god, a black person.
Yeah, that's the first few seconds of the race episode. I know some people out there will be grasping at straws. Oh, but she's making fun of the racists, not the black people who experience this. Shut the fuck up. This is immediately the next visual. We get a size chart of wieners from different races. While this fuck-ass voiceover says, we can't help but be judgy. We're talking stereotypes.
Shut the hell up, bitch.
So in the later seasons, they didn't get better, they just got more emboldened. It actually got worse. I am so uncomfortable. As usual, they managed to sprinkle in the occasional good advice and interesting commentary, calling out the makeup industry for their foundations lacking an appropriate range of skin tones. They're calling out job discrimination for attacking people's natural hair. But for every moment of authenticity, there's also clearly a culture on set of, oh, we're bored, make a joke, quick, make a joke. So people will talk about things that were said that really hurt their feelings, but then they'll be like, but joke's on them because I had sex with the racist that was just being racist towards me. There's a section dedicated to interracial dating, and do we hear people's tips on communicating? No, we get this really unfunny sketch about meeting the racist parents before our cast of 30-somethings all share what races they want to date.
I really just want to date a Spanish girl.
I love Hispanic guys. I worked in a lot of restaurants. I always dated the kitchen staff, the Mexican kitchen guys. Kitchen Mexicans. Is that racist? Sure is.
I'm trying to make a swirl baby right now.
Disney Plus will put out disclaimers for things that didn't age well. Meanwhile, this is just sitting on Paramount Plus with no pre-apology in sight. To be fair, they probably didn't think anyone was watching this, so I'm sorry I had to stop watching this episode. My face actually hurt from cringing. That's never happened before. There's a shift in season 3 of Guy Code as well because Pete Davidson randomly spawns out of nowhere.
Not worse than having a girl next to you and your team scores and she's like, what just happened? What is that? Just go back on Instagram, leave football to us. What?
I have nothing else to say. I think that speaks for itself. The last episode of Guy Code aired March 25th, 2015, and it's all about reputation. Wow, they started thinking about that really late in the game. They call this last season the season of menlightenment. Pretty clever. On top of that, this show, starting off with an angelic choir, was a subversion of the expectations that amused me so much a steady stream of air exited my nostrils. The guys talk about reputation, and we see the fear start to set in on their face and voice when the internet is brought up. And this makes sense. It made me laugh, because as bad faith as the internet is sometimes, if it helps someone's moral compass to feel exposed to the opinions of people outside their little circle jerk of frat bro-esque stand-up comics, then so be it. Genuine reflection would be better, but you know what? Fear works too. Try not to get canceled challenge. In 2016, there was a brief series called Guy Code versus Girl Code, and I searched the high seas and couldn't find it anywhere. All I know is the description of the last episode, which reads, "Surviving cuffing season. Patience, erections, considering Hillary Clinton as the next president." Oh, wow. Maybe the universe is just protecting me from whatever they say in that episode. I'm good, actually. I feel like the guys would just be like, "Female president? You think she'd start a world war when she gets her period?" I'm good, actually. I don't need to see that. But they didn't retire the format even after that, because in 2020, they had a web series called Teen Code. And they had enough sense to realize that Gen Z isn't as easily engaged. They were more challenging of a demographic and wouldn't just accept any cast of quirky weirdos you plopped in front of them. So, inspired by the internet, MTV assembled who the youths were already watching. They cast online personalities like Conan Gray, Emma Chamberlain, Liza Koshy, Jay Versace, My Life as Ava, Tess Brooke, and I ain't talking book.
And I ain't talking book. Yeah, I smell good.
They also cast Ayo Edebiri. I do not know how MTV cast her. I'm honestly impressed with how many super talented people they were able to get a hold of right before they really blew up. The miniseries Teen Code felt a bit more like the Fine Bros React channel, where they were more so leaning into relatability.
Magic Concho, will I ever get married?
Maybe someday.
We've been parasocially asking strangers for advice since at least the 1690s. According to Wikipedia, the first known advice column was the Athenian Mercury. But instead of focusing on small personal matters like wang size, people got really philosophical. How can a man know if he dreams or if he's really awake? Is there an impartial and true history of the world? As my deep dive continued, it turns out that even this early on, many questions were submitted about courting and relationships, and about a year after this publication started, people were already making fun of it. The push and pull of culture, the believers and naysayers. We've always been this silly. But is it silly to ask for advice? That's not actually the silly part. I think the silly part is taking what anyone says, especially people you don't know, whatever they say, as gospel. So keep that in mind, because welcome to Human Code, where me, a human, and my husband, a human, try to give good faith advice to those of you who submitted things on my Insta. I'm sorry in advance. There are a lot more submissions than I thought there'd be, so we will not be able to get to everyone, but we're gonna try our best. Best way to get my boyfriend to stop doing strange impressions of people. This is a very interesting one, because I have two answers. I have the me answer, and I have the MTV douchebag answer. So I don't know whether I want to go for, and I cannot emphasize this enough, a joke answer or the real answer, because the real answer is always going to be communication. Yeah. Like, if it's something where you feel like the people they're doing impressions of are getting their feelings hurt, especially, you got to be like, hey, I don't know if you think it's a form of flattery. I don't know if you think people are in on the joke, but you're making people, or even just yourself, like, you're making me as your partner uncomfortable. That should be enough to be like, oh, okay. And then a conversation will spark out of that. If they love doing these jokes, I'm sure they'll be like, but that's my thing. Why? Listen, not every conversation is pleasant, but every conversation is necessary. My MTV douchebag answer is, like, if I was on the MTV Girl Code and I wanted to give the worst advice possible, you know what I'd say? I'd be like, find the impression of like the person he hates the most and say that like, oh my God, I don't know what it is about that, but like you sound so sexy when you do an impression of this person. Like you should do that more and encourage it in the worst possible way. What's the word? Reverse psychology it.
That is so convoluted.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. What you gotta do is you gotta scheme. Being upfront, cringe.
When you read that reminded me of like a Reddit stories title.
Yeah.
Like that would be a post on like, am I overreacting?
And we're missing some key context like, oh, my white boyfriend keeps doing a Jamaican accent. It's like, no, you're not the asshole. You gotta get him to stop. Stop!
Yeah, I think to like give better advice, I would need a little bit more context.
Somebody needs advice on college. They're going for BFA in theater. I have so much to say. I'm gonna let Ben take it away before I go off the rails again.
I actually do not even know where to start.
The first thing I have to warn you about is they are going to say, we're like a family. They're going to say, these are the connections you're going to carry for your entire career. You better get used to the people in this room. And that is total bullshit. And it's a terrible way to start off the year. And I don't know a theater group that doesn't do that. Like, if you enter your BFA and they don't do that, like, I'm happy, like, that you don't have to take this advice. But if they say, like, we're gonna be like a little family, it feels exciting at first, but then the more you get to know these people, because surely you're not gonna get along with everyone, such an unrealistic expectation to put on a group of people. It's not like a family. It's like coworkers. You're gonna have coworkers you like, coworkers you don't like, coworkers you're indifferent towards. You don't have to force a relationship with anybody you don't want to have a relationship with.
I would say, and this is actually kind of just generally advice for anyone entering college, is to have a strong sense of your own personal boundaries.
Yeah. Also, take everything everyone says with a grain of salt. Like, I learned a lot of things through my BFA that helped me with my stage presence, that helped me be a better entertainer for sure. But there were professors where they like a certain style of acting. And I got really good at fitting that style. But in my head, I'd be like, these are all the things I would change. And I'd try to present that to them, and they just were not receptive to it. But guess who is? The audience that you're trying to reach. Do not think that there is one right way to act. Be receptive to the criticism, but please don't take it to heart. There were so many people when I was doing this YouTube channel that did not get it. There are so many types of entertainment, so many different types of theater. I tried to do a Star Kid monologue to a very, very ancient Shakespeare professor. He did not get it. And that's okay.
I still got to watch you do that monologue, and it was great.
Thank you. Dude, he tore me to shreds.
But yeah, just be receptive and keep in mind everything that you're learning. It's all a toolbox. You may have professors that are going to try and act like the way that they want you to act is the only way to find success. Don't believe it. How do you respectfully reject somebody?
I think it's tough to say because I don't know what the relationship was prior to this person being interested in you. Like, I don't know if you're really close friends or if this is just an acquaintance or maybe somebody you don't really know well at all. But be easy on yourself. It is a nerve-wracking thing when you don't know how the other person is going to react. I would say, again, I don't know how well you trust this person, but make every rejection public, not to like embarrass them or anything, but I just know as a femme presenting person, it's rough out there. So stay safe and also don't gauge how well you did based on how they react, because you could be as kind as possible and somebody cannot take it well. And at the end of the day, that's not your fault. You're trying your best to be gentle.
Yeah, literally all of that. Like, there is no way to really predict exactly how someone's going to react to it.
And kindly doesn't necessarily mean being flippy-floppy, because if they continue to ask questions like, oh, is this a maybe? Oh, can we, like, go on a date and see where it leads? Like, being firm isn't being unkind. The kindest thing you can do is be honest with the person, which it seems like you're trying to do. You know, what I will say is now, after giving advice, not that I want to give fucking guy code, girl code any credit, but it is pretty difficult. It is pretty difficult to give advice because when I give advice to close friends and family member, I'm always asking for more context. There's so much nuance involved. And then you have these girl code, guy code comedians where nothing is serious to them. No wonder they're giving the worst advice imaginable on the face of the earth.
Makes a lot more sense when you put it that way.
Anyway, that was human code. Damn. Now here's the verdict on whether guy code and girl code is camp or cringe. What do you think it is? What do you think the answer's gonna be? Find out after right now. It is impossible for MTV to produce something that's not cringe, especially back in 2011. It is dated. It is probably the most cringe piece of media I've ever watched for this channel. I'm surprised other commentary channels didn't get in on this shit. There are so many other episodes to dissect. The Millennial Core, when the girlies are just making silly faces and sounds, is camp, but it is for sure overshadowed by the aggressive sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia. I sure hope you enjoyed me making jokes about this. Please subscribe if you did. And if you want something a whole lot longer, but definitely a lot chiller, might I suggest the Every Great Wolf Lodge video? Please, oh please, it's so damn good. Have a great day. I demand it. Bye!